How's it looking squad-wise, Neil?
Well, Edward, he's trained the last few days, and your beats on. He's back into training as well. There's no fresh injury concerns from the weekend from the players that played, so just starting to get a little bit stronger again.
Everyone okay on the COVID front? I know the AC Milan players had positive tests. All clear for you guys?
Oh, we've been all negative. We were tested Friday, and then we were tested today again. So we'll get the results from today's test. Probably later on this evening.
Julian, what are you looking at in terms of his recovery? I think you mentioned his back injury. How bad is that?
Well, he won't be. We're probably looking after the international break. So he's abroad at the minute, getting treatment on a day-to-day basis, and he's struggling with inflammation, soreness around the spine. So he's away to get some intensive treatment on that, and we'll see how he is when he comes back. But he's a few weeks away yet.
I asked Lee Griffiths there that given what's at stake this season, perhaps some people are forgetting that you're on course for a quadruple treble. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird having to play, a competition from last season this season, but we're looking forward to it. It's testament to the players' consistency. We're in another semi-final. We know the opposition because we've just had a good look at them at the weekend, and it's a game that we're very much looking forward to.
Cheers.
Neil, what have you implemented since that Aberdeen game? Are there major things that you've had to work on since the draw?
No. Can't do anything. I mean, it's a second day recovery today, so there was lots of things that I was pleased about with the game. A couple of individual errors led to goals. You can't replicate that on the training ground, but we haven't. The first team who played at the weekend just did a recovery day today, and we'll get ready tomorrow for an important game on Thursday night.
A manager sometimes earns his corn by looking at certain individuals and either trying to lift them or work with them. Do you feel you have to do that with Shane?
Yeah, I mean, he just needs to find his feet, really. It's been quite a tumultuous start for him. I thought before the international break, we'd won 8 games in a row and kept 4 clean sheets. I thought he was settling in quite well. He's just had a bumpy week. Nothing more, nothing less. It happens. I'm not happy about the treatment he's getting from certain quarters of the media. So I think that's totally unbalanced and unfair and hysterical. And he's a quality player. And he made a mistake at the weekend. Apart from that, I thought the first half he was absolutely excellent. But this personal, constant banging of the drum with individual players is, for me, it's unacceptable, and it's driven by certain quarters of the media. He's a human being. He made a mistake. He shouldn't be hung out to dry for it, and he has my full support.
Just picking up on that point, and 2 points regarding it. What do you mean by hysterical criticism of the player?
Well, comments that he's rank rotten and he's bomb scare and he's costing us, and you've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about. And I find that, ridiculous. I have seen millions of players come in here. I've seen them take a bit of time to find their feet and then go on to have brilliant careers. I've seen players come in, hit the ground running, and I've also seen players come in with big reputations and it hasn't worked out for them. We're hoping that's not going to be the case for Shane, and it's my job to manage him the best possible way. He's got my full support. He's got the team's full support, and I don't think we should individualise anybody for what was a decent performance away from home. We conceded some goals. If we'd have held out in the last minute, we'd have the same amount of points as this time last year. So where all the hysteria is coming from is beyond me, but it's something I can't control. I think it's media driven by some people, and it's okay. We can take all that, but there's a clear lack of respect for the players here, for the management here, from a backroom team here at the minute because of, one bad week.
Can I pick up on that point, Neil, just on the second part of it, which is quite simply you as a manager rely on your players to deliver in this season of all seasons, would you take?
What do you mean? What do you mean this season of all seasons, Peter?
Well, because I think this season is becoming poison, and the erratic nature and the criticism that you're talking about from some quarters, I think it's going to go even worse.
I'm telling you, it's media driven. There's no question of that. There's a narrative that everybody, wants to see a change. That's fine. That's just the way of the world. The poison comes from either social media, or it's picked up by you guys and put in your reports or your articles or your newspapers or whatever, and it's out there for people to clickbait. So I can't control that. What I can control is what goes on in the training ground. Players are solid. They've made a really good start to the season, a lot better than previous seasons when we've won trophies. But this season of all season is, that's, for me, it's another season. Whether we're going for a 10th title or a first title or a 5th title, we want to win the title. Can I hear you, Pete?
Sorry, with that in mind, as a manager, you have to make big calls. So if you had the option, would you take Shane out of it short term, or do you think, no, this is just a blip?
No, I'm not going to, I'm not going to take him out. If he needs a rest, with the amount of games that he's had, then we'll have a look at that. But I'm not going to leave him out. If people think he's not playing well, then that's fine. I think he brings a lot to the dressing room. I think he's got great experience, and I think you'll see the best of him as we go along.
Neil, with all that you've said there, and you said on Sunday after the game that there was maybe a little bit of a lack of confidence in some players' fragility, I think was the word you used. When you talk about this criticism that the players are getting and Celtic's getting at the moment, can you use that to your advantage?
Yeah, of course you can use it as a motivation. We've been over this scenario many, many times before. I think it's sort of exaggerated even more, coming into this period. We've lost one game in the league, and, pundits are talking about me being 2 games away from the sack. Where that comes from, no idea. Players getting singled out, players getting abused, players getting criticised. I think it's absolutely shocking. If that's the way of the modern world, I'm glad I'm not a player anymore, and I'm glad I played when I did 20 years ago. But it's all right, saying they have to be strong and blah, blah. They are strong. They've proved that time and time again. And I have every faith in the players that we will have another, stellar season. Even when we were winning games, people were criticising the performances. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
It's another big week for you when you've got the Europa League on Thursday night, then that semi-final on Sunday. So you always talk about it's a perfect time to have these big games to try and turn things around.
Yeah, listen, turn things around. I thought we played really well second half against Milan. I thought we played reasonably well, third game in a week against a good side away at Aberdeen. In some other seasons, people would deem that to be a decent result, a point at Pittodrie. So, yeah, the manner of the goals is disappointing. The manner of the performance, I thought we controlled the game first half without really putting Joe Lewis under a huge amount of pressure. Second half, I thought we were excellent. Second half, I thought you could see the players had the bit between the teeth. So from a goal down, they get it back to 2-1 down, they get back to 3-2. So they showed me plenty of character, plenty of personality, and plenty of quality. And that bodes well for the games coming up. We play a Champions League quality side on Thursday who are going well in Liga, and it's going to be a real stiff examination for us. But we've earned the right to be in the competitions. We've earned the right to be in the semi-final. No other club has done what these players have done in the past 3 or 4 years, and that shouldn't be ignored either.
Neil, you said this, talked about it being media-driven. Do you not concede that some Celtic fans are also unhappy with the form?
Possibly, but not all. I've seen 2 newspapers run polls. I've never seen it before on whether I should be sacked or not. Never seen it before in 20 years I've been up here. So who's driving that? It's not the Celtic fans, Ronnie. And I think there are a minority of our support need to calm down. Need to let the players settle. It's been very disruptive the last few weeks. I'm not using that as an excuse, but our form going into the international break compared to the form coming back out of it, it's different because of all the disruption that we've had. Now, fans may not want to buy into that, and I can't agree with them, but I think it's far too early to be casting aspersions of the team. If they can't enjoy this season, then I don't know what season they can enjoy, because it may not never come round again. But I think in the main, I think the majority of supporters are totally behind the team and behind the club.
How concerned are you that the spotlight that you say is now on yourself and the club affects the players in the weeks coming?
I'm not concerned about it at all. There's no spotlight on me. You guys are creating a spotlight. I've never asked for it. This is, again, driven by people who are coming up with theories and conspiracy theories about my role or what I bring to the club. My record, I shouldn't have to defend it, but it speaks for itself. So what I do is I do my job as conscientiously and professionally as I possibly can. And I don't feel under any, major pressure. Am I unhappy with this week's work? Yeah, because we like to win. We like to play well and win. But I think we're getting better again, and I think we're getting stronger, and I think we've got a lot to look forward to. And I think I should be the man in charge of it.
Sorry, Neil, can I just pick you up on that, what you said there? You said that conspiracy theories involving your role at the club. Can you expand on that, please?
Well, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, people, are saying that I don't do this on the training ground. Nobody knows what I do on the training ground. Nobody sees what I do on the training ground. I'm here 8:30 in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock at night. I work with my coaches day to day with the players, day in, day out. So, you hear all these rumours, and that's what happens when you go through a little spell. All the conspiracy theory comes out about fallouts, dressing room breakups, all that nonsense. And that's what it is. It's just fake news. I sound like Donald Trump now, but it's just all fake news. Players are great. Players are bubbly. There's a few of them got to find their best form. I understand that. They can't be brilliant all the time. But the atmosphere in the camp is very, very good.
Just finally from me, Neil, just a point on what Ronnie said there. How do you gauge whether the hysteria or panic amongst Celtic fans is in a minority or a majority? You say it's a minority. How do you know?
Well, how do you know it's not?
I don't know. Do you gauge? How do you gauge you personally?
No, I don't gauge it. I don't gauge it. I don't have anyone coming up to me and going, I want you sacked, blah, blah, blah. And there's no justification at the minute for me to be sacked. None whatsoever. So people can put out in the media what they want. They need to behave themselves. They need to start acting professionally. They need to stop telling porkies. And they need to stop digging out players when they've been players themselves and didn't have a great time the whole way through the time here either.
And would you say, Neil, that you've seen this before in terms of any personal criticism?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through adversity up here for 20 years. I've been criticised as a player, I've been criticised as a manager. So that comes with the job. But I don't take it personally unless it becomes personal. And if things start to deteriorate rapidly, then I'll hold my hands up and go, you know what, this isn't working and we need to look at something else maybe. But at the minute, we're nowhere near that.
Neil, you mentioned some of the criticism that you've had from fans, and I know myself how emotional this season is to Celtic supporters.
Yeah, well, they need to sort of, show a bit of patience, because it's not helping the players. It's and I think it's unbalanced, and I think we're might be in a title race. We have a bit of catching up to do, and that's fine. I've been there as a player, and I've been there as a manager, and so have some of the players here. Some others haven't. They've had it. They've done really, really well. They've been really, really consistent, and maybe some of the fans aren't used to it, but they're going to have to show a bit of patience with the team. They can't all be constantly criticising the team, the manager, because it's not productive.
You mentioned how you're here all day, and undoubtedly you put a massive amount of effort in. When we hear about things like on the training ground and tactics, how do you impart the things like that onto the players? Is it mostly done on the actual training ground, or are the players asked to take work home with them to study, to prepare, or is there lessons in the afternoon looking at opposition?
Yeah, I mean, we have pre-match analysis of the opposition, which myself and the coaches go through, and then we implement that on the training ground. The players also get to see it, and then we do sessions that are relevant to what we want from the team, for a particular game. So it's sometimes I think we overcoach them. Sometimes I think we give them too much information. But we are very, very diligent. I've got two, cracking coaches in John and Gavin. Stevie Woods, has got a great reputation as a goalkeeper, and we've got great sort of guys in the background, in terms of analysis, opposition analysis of our games, post-match analysis. So we have everything covered, and the players have new apps. We've got new technology in that they can have a look at their own contribution or who they're playing against. So all these things, all these bases are covered. So for people to say it doesn't happen, it's just not true. Just simply not true.
It's great. Looking ahead to Aberdeen, they themselves had a bit of a shaky start at the beginning of the season. What have you found to be quite new in terms of their style of play from the game that they had at the weekend there?
Well, Derek's gone with a 3, at the back, which, normally he's been either 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. He's got some good players, midfield players. He started the game with McGeoch, and Ferguson. Probably not as physical as some Aberdeen teams have been in the past, and maybe trying to play a little bit more, which I think will, be conducive to a very good game come Saturday or Sunday.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Neil, obviously, 2 big games in quick succession this week. Is the Lille game almost secondary to Sunday? Like, might you make a few changes with a view to Sunday, or do you not feel you're in a position to be able to do that?
No, I'm in a position to do it, but I'm not going to, because if we win the game, then it opens the group up for us and keeps us ticking over. We haven't had a disappointing start to the group, losing a home game where we were very good at home in the Europa League last year. So it's important that we get something out of the game, and we're going to need a strong team out because Lille are a very good side. I'm not really looking too much ahead of the Aberdeen game. We've had a good look at them, last weekend there. So we're very familiar with, their players and their style of play. So all our focus at the minute is on Lille.
Yeah, and it was kind of touched on earlier. Obviously, the Aberdeen game is the 2 games away from completing the quadruple treble. Is that still a priority? I mean, or has it been kind of overtaken by 10 in a row this season?
No, I think it's a priority because it's a competition that we can win, and you don't want this run of trophies to end. So I think they've earned the right. They've worked hard to get into that position to be in a semi-final again. So they've got a fantastic cup record over the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm sure they'll be desperate to, try and maintain that. Semi-finals are normally tense occasions. Aberdeen, good side, so we're looking forward to it. But it's obviously a game that we want to win. We want to win all the competitions that we're in.
Yeah, and obviously, as you said, it's been a kind of bad week, and the 2 huge games coming up. Do you think this is the biggest challenge of your Celtic career across both spells as a manager, this kind of spell of run of game?
No, not at all. You've had far more pressurised games in my first spell. Very pressurised games when I first came back into the job the second time around, when there was 8 to 10 games to go in the season. That was huge pressure to keep that momentum going, and then obviously to do the treble. So, I wouldn't put the onus on. I think pressure is relative, what people make it out to be. I think you're always under the spotlight or the microscope in a job as big as this. But no, I don't think this is as pressurised as previous spells.
No, it's just that the kind of run, it's obviously 3 games without a win now. I think there was a couple of years was the last time, and then it's been 6 years, so they went 4 without a win. But kind of coming back for the second spell, you felt under more pressure then than this current run?
Yes, absolutely. Because I had to get that right, and had to, if there was no 8 and if there was no 9, there'd be no talk of 10. So really, we should be enjoying this season, but nobody seems to be enjoying it. Our players should be enjoying it. They've earned the right to go for 10, and they should be respected and supported for that. But it's very, very quickly people turning on them, turning on me, and I think that's, basically unfair. We've had a tough week, but there were mitigating circumstances for that. People can use whatever sticks they want to throw at us, but I think we'll be absolutely fine. I think the players are looking forward to each game there as it comes, but I think they've earned the right to be able to enjoy things rather than endure it.
Yeah, and just one final one for me. Obviously, you spoke about kind of conceding sloppy goals on Sunday. I think that's 8 in the last 3 games conceded. If you look at the league, I think all the last seasons it was only 19 in 30 games. It's now 11. Is the defence a kind of area of concern that so many goals are conceded, or is that just down to the kind of disruption of injuries and kind of COVID absences?
I think you got to look at every aspect of it, and listen, not every season is going to be the same, so you always look to improve, but sometimes you can't. The mantra this year is to try and win the league first and foremost. That's a priority. I'm not happy with the goals that we conceded this week, but there are mitigating circumstances for that. And not every season, like I said, it was a stellar season last year. We won 26 out of 30 games. We were banging in goals left, right, and centre. We were keeping clean sheets. And like I said, before we broke up for the internationals, we had 4 clean sheets in a row. So we were doing something right, and that was on the back of 8 wins. Now there has been disruption. There has been, players missing, and that's bound to affect the stability at times. I think we can tidy up. I think some players can get better, and we will strive to do that as we go along. But, like I said, I would love to equal what we did last year. I'm not sure it's going to be possible, but the important thing is that we strive to improve in every game.
Okay, cheers.
Neil, today you've clearly you've launched a defence of yourself and your players and your.
I'm not launching a defence of myself. I'm launching a defence of the players and the team and the club. I think they deserve better at the minute.
And do you feel you had to do that today, or you've been forced to do it into that based on what's being said anywhere?
Yeah. We're 2 points worse off than we were this time last year.
Neil Gordon Strachan used to say to me that if 2 people called into a phone-in and called him an idiot or a loser, does that mean he's an idiot or a loser or whatever criticism that came his way? Are you maybe getting a bit ratty because you've got to try and balance the noise? Your PR guy's not necessarily going to put down a newspaper article saying Neil Lennon's great. He's going to fill your head full of the negatives that are coming at the moment. But is it difficult for you to try and keep a balance on it?
No, not with the players. It's not, trying to keep the players away from all of that. And you guys are asking the questions, so you guys are aware of it. And some of you are, whether it be the broadcasts or the dailies, or, stirring it up. So, I go back to, when has there ever been a poll to get a manager sacked in Scotland? I've never seen that before. We're in October. Our form's been relatively okay, not brilliant. I'm aware of that. But for me to be called to be sacked, why? Where's the realism behind that? What for? I've won 1, 2, 3. I've helped win 8. I've won 9. So there's no evidence to suggest that I can't win this season either.
And there's a confidence from you that this team has got the bit between their teeth to go on and try and get the quadruple and maintain that title challenge.
Well, again, I saw no evidence at the weekend that they haven't, because they come from a goal behind, they come from 2-1 down away from home, and they go 3-2 up. It would have been a great win under the circumstances. It wasn't to be, but it wasn't down to lack of character or playing for the club or playing for the jersey. I saw plenty of that in the second half.